Okay, so we decided to do something kind of informal. We're going to read questions from you guys. What would you do if he or she cheated? I think this is going to be a controversial answer. Isabella says, husband's best friend doesn't like me, but everyone else does. Is it a him problem or? Do you lose sex drive after having babies? I'm struggling with my second drive postpartum. How to deal with toxic family members as a couple. Wait, I don't mean to laugh at this next question, but it has me going. Do you put your relationship first or the kids first? What if you have different parenting styles? Give us more on business. How to not kill your partner postpartum. How to initiate sex more as the wife. How to make myself more attractive in social settings. Why do you think men don't approach women in the wild anymore? Okay, so we decided to do something kind of informal.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're going to talk about, and part of that is
true.
because
we know what we're going to talk about.
No.
We're going to read questions from you guys.
Yeah, but we don't know what those questions are yet.
I've seen some of them.
Okay. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Okay. Well, we decided to do an ask me anything on Instagram. And I said, ask me relationship questions. And I have to say, first of all, I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but we will try to get to as many as possible. And we're just going to kind of informally read them off and talk about them. We'll try to do it quick. Abe, I know we're both kind of sometimes long-winded. So let's get through these. So I'm just going to jump right in. First one from Prairie Provin Calhoun. Abe, by the way, wants me to read all of your names. So we know
we're workshopping this, but
I'm probably not going to read all of them because some of them are hard to figure out. But anyway, divide chores, what to hire out. That's the first question. Absolutely divide chores. We actually just talked to someone named Nicole who has a book called Rattled about, dividing chores when you become a parent. But even if you're not a parent, if you're in a relationship, you should definitely divide chores. Sometimes I think it happens naturally. And sometimes I think you need to talk it through.
And then and what to hire out?
Yeah, what to hire out. I mean, I would get a cleaner, but that's just me.
Yeah, if you can afford a cleaner is a huge value. I mean, on the weekends.
Huge value, like split it even.
We're constantly cleaning up after the kids because we just prefer to be with the kids and not have anybody at the house. And it's a lot of work.
It's awful. Okay, how did you know you wanted to get married? Sophia Gum, 02.
It's funny. I don't think there's any one reason. It was just that feeling. Although I guess I could put my finger on qualities that made me actually follow through with asking you to marry me.
I think also like marriage is so, I almost think it's like such a song and dance, and it is kind of silly if you look at it in that way. Like you have this big ceremony and then, I mean, we were the same before we got married as we were after. So it's like, what's the reason for it? But society creates a need and a reason for it. And I think a lot of the reason why we decided to get married when we did, because I think we could have dated for a while after. It's not like we had kids right away, but we were the oldest of our families, and our parents, like it brought them so much joy to see like their firstborn kids get married. And it made it nice.
Ceremonies are more for the parents of the bride and groom.
Sometimes. I mean, not all the time, but because I would have honestly, like looking back, like I would have gotten married, taken the money. Yeah, like give us all that money you spent on the wedding.
Buy a house, start a business.
Like, yeah. I mean, I could have gotten married on the beach somewhere.
Yeah. Your father also offered me 8 goats and 5 sheep. So that was big.
Where are they? I would like to have some goats. Okay. Isabella says, husband's best friend doesn't like me, but everyone else does. Is it a him problem or ?
Ooh, husband's best friend doesn't like her, but everyone else does. Are we sure that everybody else does, Isabella?
That's a good question, Isabella.
Well, it also, we need to know more. What's the deal?
Yeah, I need to know more. Isabella, follow up. We have follow-up questions like, what's the best friend like? Is he generally easy to get along with? What are the reasons why he doesn't like you? Kind of sounds like the best friend is the problem.
Yeah,
If
that's what it
like
sounds like to
all
me.
the other friends, like maybe he's just jealous that he lost his best friend.
Uh,
Because that can always be a thing.
that can
We've been
absolutely
there. We have been
is
there.
is the best friend in a relationship?
Probably not. Sounds
Probably
like it's
not.
not.
I'm betting not.
Isabella, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Please
Can you
reach
follow up
out.
with us because we have questions?
Do you lose sex drive after having babies? I'm struggling with my second drive postpartum. Yes, and do not put pressure on yourself. It is completely normal to lose sex drive after you have a baby. Completely, completely normal. If you need to give your husband a hand job, it's fine. Just go for it. But you don't like your body has just been like overtaken by a newborn, and then you need to nourish that newborn, whether you're doing it physically or just emotionally. It's very hard to have capacity and space for your husband or your boyfriend or whoever it is. So do not put pressure on yourself, please.
Well, hold on. I agree with that, but I want to add to it. What was the name of the person?
Brooke.
Okay, Brooke.
Abe needs to know every single person's name.
Well, we want to address them by
Okay,
their name.
Brooke.
They took the time to ask the question. I agree with what you're saying, obviously, but I think just be cognizant of, and this is after a few months of giving birth. Obviously, right after physically, you can't even do it. But sometimes, for the sake of the marriage, we talk about this all the time. There's an element of it's okay if it's transactional. Just quote, let's get it over with, because your husband will leave you alone for a long period of time, and you'll feel
You can be transactional, but I think like right after you have a baby, just don't put pressure on yourself. That's the last thing you need is pressure.
Agreed.
Sex intimacy while pregnant, 4 months going through a dry spell and scared to hurt BB. Okay, Brianna, I feel like it's considering I've had so many pregnancies, I definitely felt different in like each pregnancy is different. I can't explain it. I had more of a sex drive, I think, I want to say with Elijah than I did with my last pregnancy.
Yeah, maybe I have a weird fetish with you being pregnant.
Okay, it's not a fetish. You're like attracted, but can we not say that you have a fetish for pregnant women, you freak?
Well, I think something to consider is just altering the positions. Like when you're pregnant, I know
you're not going to hurt the baby. First of all, you're not going to hurt the baby. That's just not a thing, and you will not hurt the baby.
Fact,
so you don't need to worry
about that. You're going to make the baby better because you're going to have a serotonin release that probably goes through the.
Yeah, you're not hurting the baby. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Like switch up the positions and see. And also, if you're in a dry spell, that's also okay.
Yes.
Like just tell them to deal with it. Okay, how to deal with toxic family members as a couple? Very hard. We've been there. Definitely been there.
I think the most important thing is.
It's a good question.
For the couples to have a conversation between each other
and get on the same page.
Get on the same page, and more specifically, to let the other person know. So if I'm the spouse that has a problem with your family member, to say, look, this isn't a reflection of you, how I feel about you. Just be sensitive to, in fact, they may be close with their family.
I would also say that when you're having the conversation with your partner, talk about also the perspective of the toxic person that's in your life. So like, I think it helps with understanding how to deal with them. Like, okay, like they're coming from this place because this is how they grew up and maybe this is where they're coming from. And it's not about like us.
Right.
So when you try to understand the toxic person that you're dealing with, try to understand them and then have a conversation about how to deal with them as a united front. But try not to let that, because those people I feel like tend to, even if they're doing it, I mean, we're talking from experience. We probably both know who we're talking about, but they may not even realize that they're doing it, but they want to get in between you. Like that's the kind of like textbook toxic person.
Yeah.
They want to get in between the couple and have the couple side with them, either both or one of them or at different times. So I think like if you can be a united front and figure out how to deal with that person, you're way better off.
Yeah. And then I guess the inverse of what not to do is don't start attributing the toxic qualities that you're talking about from whatever family member it is on your significant other, because that's a really easy fight to get into, and one that's really easily avoidable, where you focus on the specific family member that you're talking about. Don't bring that into the relationship, and go as a united front.
Wait, I don't mean to laugh at this next question, but it has me going.
I'm very intrigued.
I get it, girl. My husband is balding.
Wait, who's asking the question?
I'm not going to read her name.
Oh, fine.
I don't want this balding husband to find out. My husband is balding and I'm worried I won't be as attracted to him. Advice? Okay, send your cutie husband to Turkey.
Yeah.
There's a great service in Turkey. It's like $5,000 and he can have all new hair. So start saving up.
Well, you could also just have him shave his head so that it's like bald by choice and get ripped.
Yeah, tell him he's going to have to overcompensate for his balding head and just get really ripped. That'll help, honestly.
You get a lot of shit from the bald community for this.
Listen, some people love bald heads. It's not for me, but some people like it. So, and by the way, if you went bald and then you decided you were like, all right, well now I'm freaking bald, so I'm going to be jacked. Good trade-off.
Yeah, I'd go to Turkey.
Yeah, you're going to
be my option.
You're going anyway.
I'm going preventative. My hairline's receding. It's
not so bad.
Yeah, but I'm just preventative.
Go to Turkey. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. I love this question. Do you put your relationship first or the kids first?
Relationship.
Definitely relationship. That being said, obviously, like, it's not always like that. Like sometimes you have to put your kids before your relationship. For like, if your kid is sick and you have a dinner planned, like you cancel the dinner and you take care of your kid.
Yeah.
But yes, generally the relationship is, and we actually say it sometimes to the kids, like sometimes if not always, we're not perfect about it, but sometimes if like usually Levi is being difficult, we'll be like, no, and we agree with each other. No, like we're not succumbing to your demands right now, Levi. No, and like we're backing each other up. Or sometimes they'll be like, well, why do you have to go away? And why do you have to go to dinner? And why are you going out? And we're like, because we want to spend time with each other. And I actually think it's so good for them to hear that.
It's probably one of the best things they can hear. I always think about the analogy of, you're on a plane and if the oxygen masks come down, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to put the mask on yourself first. How can you take care of everybody else if you're not taking care of yourself and yourself as a unit? So,
and the symbolic mask is also about your relationship. Like not just as individuals, but you need to put a mask on the relationship. Because
to breathe, like a mask to breathe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Not the mask to like hide yourself.
No.
But I guess it could go both ways.
You need to put the oxygen mask on the relationship because there's so many, like it's so easy for a relationship to fall apart. It's actually easy. Like it's not difficult. But if you're prioritizing like fun, we always talk about lately, we've been talking about this concept of fun as a couple and enjoyment and like doing the things that made you like each other to begin with, you'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason, I think divorce rate's over 50% in this country. I imagine a lot of that happens post kids because of the stressors and people ill-equipped to deal with.
And if you think about it, the investment on the relationship, even if it's like spending money on couples therapy or, the time, like spending money on a little short 2-day vacation together or concert, whatever it is, like, and you're like, oh, I don't want to spend that money. Think about how much more expensive divorce is. I mean, honestly, like it's so expensive and then you have to have 2 different households. I mean, if your relationship's doomed or like your, partner does some crazy messed up thing, forget it. Like I'm not talking about those instances, but like if you have like minor issues about communication and you just don't like each other for a period of time, just figure out ways to work on it because you're going to save money.
Yeah. Or start swinging.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
You keep saying it. People are not going to think you're kidding anymore.
They don't think I'm kidding anyway.
Okay. How do you manage kids, yourself, businesses, and your marriage all in one? It's a lot.
Let me know because I'm still trying to figure that part out.
Yeah. I think schedules. I think, people ask me all the time, what do you do? Like, how do you, like, what's your skincare routine? What's your, like, Abe doesn't get it, but I do absolutely nothing. Like, I don't even have time to go get a facial. Which is not good. Like, I'd like to have some time for that. But for me, exercise is what keeps me like at a peak level. And so you kind of just, when you have so much going on, you kind of just have to prioritize the things that keep you at peak levels. Like maybe for someone, a facial does that. You know, it's like that type of relaxation or that feeling of having your skin massaged, whatever. Then that's your thing. Like for me, it's exercise.
I think for most people, it'd be exercise. And more specifically, post kids, wake up early and do your workout before the kids are up, before the chaos of the day starts, because that mental clarity that you have, both the physical endorphins you get from working out and like the obvious physical health benefits, but the mental time that you have to yourself sets the tone for your entire day. And everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell everyone that they should work out at 6 a.m. like us because it's pretty difficult.
I think they should. I think that like, you think about it. It's so hard. It's impossible almost when you have kids to work out after work.
It depends.
It doesn't happen. It's difficult. I'm not saying.
Some people operate better at night, like my siblings do.
Yeah, they don't have kids.
I don't know.
Think about the responsibility. You have to come home, do dinner, do bedtime, like all the things that by the time you're done with all that, it's what, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
It's tough. It's tough when you have kids and work out late.
It's like, why sleep late anymore? I mean, I was never an early riser.
I like a sleep in.
You like sleep
every so often.
I was never a morning person. Now I'm up at 5:15 without the alarm most days. I go to my 6 a.m. workout and it's changed my life.
Yeah. That's only been a couple of years. So don't everybody think that we're so perfect at that. But
yeah.
Also, I like this one. I like this question. Did I just like lose it? Oh, what if you have different parenting styles? This is a good one because we've had this. This has come up for us a few times.
We still have certain things that I would consider different parenting styles.
I think it's good. That's what I'd say. I think it's good that you have different parenting styles because you're not always parenting together.
There's also, I mean, we're assuming that they're both validly, quote, healthy parenting styles.
Right. Like I want to beat the shit out of my kids and the other partner saying, no, you should probably not beat the shit out of your kids.
Right. But talking about discipline styles, there's something to be said about good cop, bad cop, and which like one parent in different situations need to be feared a little bit.
We switch it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm the feared one. Sometimes you are.
You're usually the feared one.
Am I?
Well, no.
Sometimes you can
with Layla, maybe you are because she knows that
she
can make me do anything she wants.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It's complementary. I think it's important to have a conversation with your significant other about the fact that you do have different parenting styles and not judge the other one for those differences because that creates conflict and tension. And then that creates situations where you might undermine each other in front of your kids because you may not agree with the other parenting style. So I think just have to accept it and just have an open conversation.
Also, sometimes that may happen. It's happened with us. And if it does, you just got to talk through it. You got to be like, and you have to wait. I'm better at this than Abe sometimes, but like you have to take a step back, let things simmer, like wait till your kids are either sleeping or whatever, and then have a conversation about it. Because you can't do it in the moment. And also you don't want to do it in front of your kids. But by the way, I think this is such an important, really? I think this is, let's see. I think this is such an important topic and point that many people don't talk about. I think it is very, very healthy for your children to see conflict and resolution.
Yeah.
You knew I was going to say that? Wow. A lot of people, or at least like the way I grew up is like, oh, you don't fight in front of the kids. And if my mom, for example, will see us like argue or tiff in front of our kids, she'll like get very upset. And she'll be like, you can't do that in front of the kids. It's upsetting. And I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I'm not saying you should be like throwing plates at each other in front of your kids and having crazy outbursts, but like a healthy argument is totally fine, especially if you're resolving it like shortly after. It's good for kids to be able to understand that you will sometimes have conflict and you will sometimes have conflict with your partner. And as long as you know how to have a communication style or however that is, sometimes it'll be different, but at least you're communicating through it, then the kids will know that things will be okay.
I think.
And they learn how to be better communicators.
yes, I think the important thing there though is nobody's gonna be perfect about this, but if you're going to do that in front of your kids, it shouldn't be when there's something that's going to take a long time to resolve. That's something really intense, obviously, but something that you know you can resolve, whether it's in that moment or shortly thereafter. And when your kids get a little older, they ask you, you know, like we get into arguments. Levi will say, "All right, you're going to apologize to mom, of course," and then we tell him, you know, everything's good. We worked out our differences, whatever. And then when the kids, there are multiple kids, they have siblings, they learn how to fight well with their siblings, which is important because siblings are going to obviously fight with each other. So if they can learn how to resolve things and resolve conflict and not shy away from it, I think that's very healthy.
I agree. All right, let's keep going through this.
It's fun. I like this format.
I know, it is fun.
It's like rapid fire.
How did you both know that you found the one, and do you think that really exists? I would not have thought that it exists had that not happened to us. That being said, I think there could be multiple the ones.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's circumstantial. And I think now he so said, he's like, you think there are more?
No, I agree with you.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I decided to move post college to, I don't know, another country or another city, I feel like I could find the one there.
I think it comes down to vibes in a literal sense, vibrations and frequencies. I think our souls emit a certain frequency, and you could have harmonic chords with multiple chords, and ours just struck in the right time and space. And I think absolutely there could be multiple ones. But I do think, to that question, absolutely love at first sight exists, and it's a thing.
It's a thing. And it's kind of like, that's also happened to me with friends.
Yeah.
You know, like I fell in love with one of my girlfriends. Like we always talk about this story because it's so funny. Like we saw each other from across the street. We went to different elementary schools and we just like knew we were going to be friends, and we are still friends. So like, and she's one of my best friends and our families are close. So I think that like love at first sight or that attraction is not just about like a romantic attraction. It could also be an attraction with a business partner, with a best friend, with like someone you want to travel with. I don't know. Like there's so many ways that you can connect. You have to be open to that concept, obviously, and not have such disbelief in it. I think people that are very anti love at first sight or think it's so hard to find someone will find that it's difficult to find someone, and will find that they won't
law of attraction
have love at first sight. Like you have to believe in that, you know?
Yes, I'm certain that it happens all the time.
It's, yeah. You're quoting a song.
Yeah. Do you believe at love at first sight?
Okay. All right. Should the guy make you laugh? And how did you know he was the one?
Yeah.
Every relationship, if there's not, I mean, this is me, I'm talking about myself, but if you're not laughing, like if you're both not funny to each other, we would never, could never be with someone who didn't make me laugh.
Yeah.
Ever.
I couldn't be with somebody who didn't laugh at me.
Also, like, I'm funny too.
I'm kidding.
We both laugh at each other.
With each other.
We laugh
you
with
laugh
each other.
You laugh at me.
And you laugh at me too.
No, I actually think, interesting, I was making a joke, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's important to be able to do both, because there's laughing with each other, but it's also important to be, you know, as much as someone should be self-deprecating, also you should be in a comfortable enough relationship where you can laugh at the other person.
Oh yeah, also, like if you grew up with siblings, you have to learn how to laugh at yourself. All my siblings ever do is make fun of me still to this day.
It's when I knew, like when I met your siblings, they would make fun of you so much. I'm like, all right,
so much.
This is gonna be.
I get roasted daily, constantly. Yeah. Even last week, I got roasted. I'm like, can you stop? I'm so old.
Organized. You just made me remember this. You organized an entire roast of me on my 30th birthday.
Good wife.
It was pretty funny.
It was great. Okay, let's see what else we got here.
By the way, to that question, that doesn't mean that like don't overdo it with trying to make the other person laugh. You know, be yourself.
No, be funny. Get new material and be funny.
All right. Just don't be fake funny.
Well, that's just lame. Like, who's fake funny? Okay, this is so sweet. Obsessed with you two. So real. Just binged your entire pod. Give us more on business.
Who asked that?
Ta.
Ta.
Went.
I mean, that's like a
we could do a whole business podcast. We really should. We really should talk about how to like start and operate a business if somebody wants to start a business.
I mean, we could talk for days.
For days.
On this topic. I mean, I think top level for this question is, thank you for that suggestion because it's something we've been mulling about expanding our subject matter. But I think anybody who's thinking to start a business, best advice I could give is just start doing it. A lot of people theorize about things, but you're never going to learn anything or do anything unless you actually try it and do it. And
I think we're going to dive into business at some point and really talk about actual actionable items that could help you start a business because we've been there. We've done everything wrong and we've done everything right. So we can really speak to it. So thank you for that. I really like this question. What would you do if he or she cheated? And I'll tell you why I like it because I think this is going to be a controversial answer. I think it depends.
Go on.
I am not into cheaters. If you're in a monogamous relationship, you may not be in a monogamous relationship. So there's that. But if you're in one, I mean, it's a break of trust. It's a break of so much. And it really is hard to go back from that because you're adding in someone else into something that's broken trust. Like you've broken my trust before with not telling the truth about certain things. And
but to be clear, not with cheating.
Well, that's my point is I'm imagining if someone else was involved in the lie. And I think that's what's so hard for people with cheating. Because it's like, okay, not only did you lie, but you lied with someone else. Like you corroborated with someone else. You know what I mean?
So is the bigger issue that as opposed to the fact that
I think it depends.
Physically had sex with another
person? But I
think
it depends. First of all, cheating could be emotional cheating.
I think that's worse.
I don't know what's worse.
Okay, so
I don't know what's worse, but my point is like it depends on so many elements of the marriage.
Yeah,
I think in certain situations, if we talked about those situations, I could get over cheating. But there are certain situations where I couldn't. Like in our marriage, the way it is now, I could not get over cheating.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Exactly.
I would not be okay with it.
But if you were,
but like I don't know if I could. Like if you cheated on me, I don't know that I'd divorce you for that.
Really? Like in our relationship today?
Yeah, I mean it would be fucked up and it would be heartbreaking, but I don't know. Like I'm just trying to. I guess it depends.
Oh,
was this like like a one-time fling from some rando?
But I don't think in our relationship today we would be able to get over cheating. Like I just don't because we're okay. We're good. Like we have a healthy marriage.
No, it would be weird.
It would just be weird.
It would be very weird.
But that's the point. Like it would just be very strange. But like if someone cheated in a relationship that was like dead and it revived the relationship because it was almost like, hey,
the person think about what
it's almost like, hello, like I'm here. You're not paying any attention to me. It's kind of like in Your Friends and Neighbors where she's like, well, you didn't touch me or look at me or hug me or ask me how I was. But they were like, seemed like they were college sweethearts and like really have a thing.
Spark.
And then it made him realize. So like there are instances where, dare I say, cheating could be like good.
And I like that. Okay, follow-up question. Prostitutes.
Oh my God.
No, serious question. Because you talked about emotional.
Well, we have direct
so, if
we have an experience,
and this probably is more so men doing this than women, probably. But, the husband's away and there's no emotion involved. It's transactional. They pay for sex. Is that one of those depends where it's like...
No, because the only reason it would make any sort of sense is if the guy is not getting any at home at all for a long period of time and has expressed this to their person and said, we're not in a physical relationship. Like it's a problem for me. And if it doesn't change, I'm going to have to go elsewhere. Like if they've prefaced this, then maybe it's somewhat understandable and excusable, like once the person finds out. But if it's just like it's just transactional and you have a great, healthy relationship with a good sex life and you just go and have sex with a hooker, like, no, that's not okay.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
But I think cheating is like, it's a really complicated situation. And I think it lends itself to like, there's a lot of other issues.
Yeah. And I still think emotional cheating is far worse. For me, it would be worse if like you had an emotional relationship with somebody else that may not even be physical.
I could see that.
Like that to me would hurt more.
Right. I mean, sometimes like you don't know who you're married to, honestly, or who you're dating. Like sometimes you just find out about someone and you're like, who the hell was I with? And then you need to run. You know, like there are those situations. I've heard of many of them. I've had friends that have been in those situations, unfortunately, that woke up one day and they were like, who the fuck was this person that I've been sleeping next to? Like, I mean, one specific situation, and, you know, sad to say that they are getting divorced, but it's like sometimes you just kind of have to run for the hills.
Yeah.
And then restart. And, you know, it's rip the Band-Aid off. Like I always say, if there's something really poisonous that's going on in a relationship, like just run. Like there's no reason.
I mean, if you have kids, I think you at least owe it to your
true.
kids to at least try counseling to see if those issues can be addressed and overcome.
True.
But after using those efforts, and if it doesn't change, I agree with you.
I'm obsessed with this question. How to not kill your partner postpartum?
Because there are laws.
Know that you will go to jail. The only thing that kept me going. No, tell them what to do, because maybe they don't know how to help, and maybe they're just being their annoying selves because they just don't know what to do themselves. So just give them tasks and treat them like really simple-minded beings that they are, and just make it very, very clear.
I don't disagree. I think empowering us is both empowering and also removes ambiguities of like, okay, what are we supposed to be doing? If you don't tell us what you need help with, we're guessing. We can't read your minds. And usually they're pretty easy lift tasks, you know, they're not like big deal things.
How to initiate sex more as the wife?
Yes, Erin. How would you answer that question?
I think you have to be easy on yourself, because it goes through, like I'm in a phase right now where I'm just not really interested, but that's because I just had a baby. So at other times, I don't know. Maybe you can help me, Erica, with this question. I don't know how to.
I know the answer.
I initiate sometimes.
Yeah, but there's this is a very easy answer.
What?
You touch your husband like on the arm, be a little sweet, give them a hug.
No, they're asking how. Yeah, I guess how to.
Okay. Like it's Erica. It's like you don't have to do much. You really don't. We're ready, willing, and able participants.
Waiting to get cleared after birth. Did you wait? Yeah, but I don't think I always did. I think it depends on the birth. Like if you have a vaginal delivery and you didn't tear.
Actually, how much of it is, we've never talked about this. Can you feel like do you intuitively know when you're good?
Kind of, yeah.
How are you feeling now? By the way, there are other things you can do without physical penetration.
How to deal with family/in-law drama. I think it depends on the drama, but truly, truly, truly be a united front. And also, like, try not to tear apart the relationship between the in-laws and the husband, because I think ultimately they resent you.
It goes both ways.
Same with the other way. Like just encourage a peaceful relationship, even if the relationship changes. That's something that we learned because we're both very family oriented and like very, very close with our families. And there was a point in our relationship where we kind of had to be like, okay, our family needs to come first, because
our family being us. Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times our, extended families were coming first. And like even Mother's Day, I think last year, I think you made the point where you were like, I'm going to start honoring you on Mother's Day and not because we were running around from this house to that house to celebrate everybody else. But it's like there's a certain point in your life where, like I'm 37 now and I just had my fourth child where it's like I'm a mom and I also want to just relax. So, yeah, I think, try to keep things copacetic, but also there's a point where you guys need to come first.
I want to add something to that. I think there's an opportunity in those moments to, I think people should develop their own relationship directly with their in-laws outside of just, spending time all together. I think, you're marrying, you're the daughter, right? I married your dad and your mom's daughter. They created you. You come from them. There are similarities and personalities, differences, whatever, but having relationships, my own relationships with your dad and with your mom, both rewarding, gives more insight into you. And frankly, you have allies when you're in a thing with your significant other, having a strong relationship with your in-laws can be really valuable because they know their child better than you do in many ways. And I would say use that as an opportunity to develop that.
That's good. I like this. Talk about how you get through a bad fight. We have been in a few. There are a few that are were really bad. Yeah, but there are a couple that like I can think of right now.
Yeah.
And how to get through them. I think
space and time.
I was going to say space and time and communication eventually. But what I think we've learned, we used to try to over communicate like early on in a fight. And I think that's a mistake. I think you got to give it a little space. Like you get into this huge fight, you need a minute to like ruminate and think about it and think about your role in it and the other person's role and how you feel. And I just think it's really important to take a step back.
I agree. And I would say most fights are not black and white. Most fights, there's usually a trigger or response where both parties involved have contributed something to the fight. So when you do get to the stage of when you're ready to talk and resolve, I think it's really important for each of you to validate and acknowledge the other person's feelings and perspective while still maintaining your own, of course, but express acknowledgement and validation so that it doesn't feel like it's still so one-sided that you say, look, I get why you got angry about this. Here's where I'm coming from, and don't continue on the attack. Really have that openness to hearing the other person's perspective.
Love it. In my mid-20s, never had serious boyfriend. How to make myself more attractive in social settings. I love this because I want to say something. There's nothing wrong with not having a serious boyfriend and being in your mid-20s. So first of all, remove that stigma immediately. There's literally nothing wrong with that. It just sometimes doesn't happen. And then you could be someone who's like in a relationship for the next 40 years. So do not put pressure on yourself. I get very upset when I see young people put so much pressure on themselves. How to make yourself more attractive. Okay.
Make yourself appear desired by others in the social situation. So if you're in a room with a bunch of guys and girls, but
this is a girl asking. So.
Yeah. But it sounds weird to say if you're just in a room with a bunch of guys, when you're in a social setting where there's mixed company, but there are guys that you might be interested in, go talk to the less attractive friend, get the attention, make yourself appear desired by that person.
That's good.
Because there's nothing more inflammatory to the lustful hearts of humans.
I'd also say
than wanting something that other people want.
Yes. And I'd also say like, be a bit coy. Like I wouldn't, if you
have to leave you have to
if
get
there's someone
a little,
you like though.
Yeah, but you have to, so there's a line where you still have to establish some interest to procure that interest. And then you play coy. If you're just playing coy the whole time, this person might not notice you. So you have to find some opportunity for them to notice you, but not overdo it with the flirtatiousness right away. Pull back a little bit. If there's a little flirtatiousness in the beginning, pull back. Go talk to somebody else. Don't give them too much attention at first.
I agree. I don't think you should give too much attention ever to anyone, but that's just my motto. This is interesting. Why do you think men don't approach women in the wild anymore? Do they
I have
not?
thoughts on this
Do they
too.
not though?
Well, yeah, it's a big problem.
Is it?
I mean, I think our society has made it so that it's very risky for men to pursue women because of, the societal norms are flipped.
I don't know. I have 3 brothers that go out and they approach women. So I
I'm
think
not
women
saying,
are
yeah, but
being
I don't think
approached
that
in the
not as
wild.
much anymore.
Okay. How do you avoid getting jealous at your man looking at other women? Have guys look at you and just ignore your man.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Also,
Just like look really hot when you guys go out and like flirt with someone at the bar, make your husband jealous or your
it's
man.
also a little jealousy is a good thing.
Yes, especially if your dude is looking at girls, which by the way, I think is rude.
Oh, if the guy's looking at girls, not girls
How
looking
do
at.
you avoid getting jealous at your man looking at other women? Like I think that's rude, number 1.
Well, first of all, it depends on like the level of look. If you're eye fucking somebody, yeah. But I mean, men and women should be free to have like to be able to look at each other.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
if like the question is being asked in that way, it means it's kind of blatant. I don't think that I would not be happy if I saw you like go like this and look at a girl's ass while they're walking. Like that would really bother me. It would make me jealous. It would just be like, ew, that's gross.
tell them to wear sunglasses.
Oh, that's why you wear them out everywhere? Good to know. Now I understand why you're always in sunglasses inside. Okay. Um, do you have any friends in your group who have gotten divorced? We do.
Do not many, but I don't know. It's weird. It's like we're at that age now where I feel like I can't think of that many in our group who
No,
got
because
divorced.
most of them are still in their 30s. But like we do have.
No, I know, but it's just we're at
Don't
that
you
age
have
now.
some friends
Yeah,
older?
not many, but we're at the age now where I guess it starts to happen.
Were you nervous to have a baby at 37, debating right now about having a third? I'm glad you asked me this, and I'll tell you why. Thank God, and I'm going to knock on wood, really, because I get superstitious. I've had good pregnancies and healthy babies. That's literally all that matters. Nothing else matters. So thank God. That being said, I had a complication this time as a 37-year-old where I went 2 weeks early because I went for a routine anatomy scan, and apparently my amniotic fluid was so low that I had to go down to labor and delivery like right then and there. I had no idea that I was going into labor. When I went to that appointment, I like went with a chic coat and like nice boots and like a great jacket. I mean, a great bag. And then all of a sudden I'm like rushed down to labor and delivery. And my doctor's like, all right, you're going into triage and we're going to have to like induce you and get the baby out because you have no amniotic fluid. So I thought maybe my water broke the night before. And as we were, having conversations with the doctor in the labor room and I was asking questions, they were like, your water's not broken. And sometimes like as you age, your I guess your placenta can age as well. I don't even know. It just wasn't. It didn't have enough. I didn't have enough amniotic fluid, and that it could be because I'm just a little bit older. So I think I never go into pregnancies or anything like that nervous because I think that breeds problems. That's a big motto of mine. I really try to be relaxed about just life in general, especially things that have to do with pregnancy and kids. That being said, there is a real biological change that happens as you age. I would say just be diligent. I don't think it's a reason to not have a kid. 37 is not like crazy old people are having kids at like 50. But, modern medicine is great. And I know a lot of people are giving birth in bathtubs in their apartments, which is interesting and it's a choice. And I think it's cool and I respect it. But if you are nervous, like just lean on your doctors, go for your routine visits and try to be in tune with your body. That's what I'd say.
I have nothing to comment on this because
Yes, I know. How did you know you were ready for kids? I did not know. My friend said she was getting pregnant and I decided to jump on the bandwagon. So I'm the wrong person to ask.
I don't think anybody's ever really ready.
Do people stay in love or you continue to love the person, but it becomes a choice. I love that.
I think both things can
Me
be true
too.
at the same time.
Me too. Me too.
I think I would argue that that second part of that should be a constant. That you love somebody, and sometimes it's the choice, but you love the person you're with. The in love feeling, I mean, it just ebbs and flows.
How do you find alone time away from the kids, and how important is that to you too? Very important. High priority. I would say that sometimes we just switch off, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes I'll just deal with the kids and Abe will go like to get a massage, or like I'll go to dinner with a girlfriend and Abe will watch the kids and put them to bed. Like I think switching off is underrated. I think a lot of couples think like, oh, alone time has to be together and without the kids. Like, no, sometimes you can just go do your thing alone with friends. It's so
Or
healthy.
even if it's a half hour where you could take a bath undisturbed.
Right.
And for men, it's probably the number one reason why men hide in the bathroom so much, because that's our alone time, which apparently is like a thing. No.
What?
And men hide in the bathrooms.
No, you hide in the bathroom.
No, I'm telling you,
No one hides more in the bathroom than you.
you know what? I'm curious. Ladies, if you're listening, do your husbands also hide in the bathroom? Is this a thing, or, is this just my weird idiosyncrasy?
Last question. I like this. Dating a guy and like his personality, but can't tell if I'm physically attracted to him. Help. So my initial response wanted to be, if you're not physically attracted kind of right away, then that's a problem. But I actually don't think that that's true. I think attraction can develop, because I've been in a situation where I was dating a guy and I was very attractive in the beginning. Well, this is like normal, I guess. And then I just was like, ew, like I'm actually not physically attracted to him, but I still like his personality. So like the opposite happened for me. And I think that you can become more attracted to someone. And if you like their personality first, that's probably a good thing for attraction to build off of.
I have a differing opinion.
I mean, I think it could be both ways. It's worth a shot if you like their personality.
Worth a shot, but let's just be real as far as expectations. Because attraction doesn't mean that the other person is necessarily objectively an attractive person. Attraction can be with somebody who most people might not think is an attractive person, but that chemistry is there. If it's not there in the beginning, I think it's very difficult to overcome that. And you're probably friend zoned.
I don't know, because like I'm like thinking back on dating, and I've definitely developed attraction to people based on their personalities. Like I've developed attraction to a friend because I was attracted to their personality.
They're not talking about a friend. They're talking about like a romantic partner.
Right, but that's the whole thing.
Right. So
Friendship.
they're friend zone.
Yeah, but friend zone could turn romantic.
It can. It's highly unlikely.
Maybe you just have to try and have sex with this person and see if
that I think is right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's our advice.
Yeah.
Have sex on your next date. Okay. That's all we got for today. But I love these questions. We're going to ask them again.
We should do this format again.
Yeah. We're going to ask them again. And we'll have this episode up in our next queue so that they're timely.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Let's do that.
And thank you guys for joining us on
Come Together.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Okay. We did it. Yay.